I mean, it's what makes it all worth it. So I want to thank you so much for being part of this game with me, and I hope you enjoyed my Dungeon Boss content. You guys are all super fantastic, and I really appreciate it. It's been great. I hope in the future I get a comment notification telling me the portals are back the way that they should be, and if that's ever the case, you can rest assured that I'll be firing up the video and audio editing software, getting my account back online, and making new videos out there right away. And when I do, I hope I'll see you at that next video. Hello everyone, this is Aeroica, and thank you so much for joining me for another video. It was a whopping 7 years ago that I posted a farewell video to my channel noting my departure from the Dungeon Boss game and its community. I left Dungeon Boss because of a major change to the hero portals, where heroes contained within those portals used to be removed once you obtained them. This reduction in the loot table improved the odds of you obtaining the heroes you didn't have yet, and was an efficient use of the in-game currency, which was bought for real money or earned for in-game achievements. However, in 2017, Bill Jackson, the chief creative officer for Dungeon Boss, announced that the portals would now retain all of the heroes in their loot table, meaning that the odds of a player getting tokens or a full unlock for a hero they didn't have went drastically downward. I personally didn't like this change because even though I did spend actual money for in-game purchases, at the time I felt I was getting a fair return for my money, and this new change looked like a money grab, so I left. Then, just last week, I got to thinking about my old YouTube channel and started watching one of my old videos. I started to reminisce about the Dungeon Boss game, how fun it was, and I thought I would download it again to see how the game had evolved over the years. Well, it 100% did change, including how portals operate. And despite the loss of all of my purchases and the work on my heroes, I can honestly say that I think it's for the better. It inspired me to dust off my screen recorder and microphone and maybe get back into doing something I love to do. I also thought that maybe some of my dedicated subscribers who stayed with me even though I stopped posting content might want to dive back in and give the new game platform a try. In this video, I thought I would explain some of the history of what happened to the Dungeon Boss game, including its new ownership, as well as to showcase all of its differences. So admittedly, I'm a little late to the party, but bear with me. In March of 2022, Netflix announced that it would seek to purchase the Next Games publishing company for $72 million, which held several game titles, including Dungeon Boss. This was one of several game acquisitions made by Netflix as a means of providing additional features to its subscription service and to help preserve its customer base. It appears to have taken over a full year to draft the agreement between the two parties, and it appears much of that time was spent preparing the game for how Netflix sought to deploy Dungeon Boss to its customers. Many features were both added and removed when compared to the old game, and according to the Dungeon Boss fandom, the company began the transition to Netflix in June of 2023. During this month, in-app purchases were suspended, customer support was terminated, and a final in-game event was held to commemorate their departure. Current players were offered a loyalty code from, which I've been able to ascertain, allowed the player to carry over a few select heroes, gems, and gold. However, many heroes like Viperia and Kozar were not brought over into the respawn version, so it's likely that many of the heroes a player had previously unlocked were just lost to the new version. So, with the worst of the news out of the way for original players, let's take a look at some of the more positive changes. The most impactful change to the game is that players can no longer spend real money for microtransactions. Even if you wanted to, you simply cannot, as there is no mechanism to make a purchase. However, you do need a Netflix subscription account to play the game, which at its cheapest is $6.99 a month for an ad-supported membership. This offers unlimited game title access and still gives you some of the features of Netflix. As previously stated, Netflix purchased this game as a means of making their subscription more attractive to its customers. So while there is a subscription fee to consider, there is no more shelling out $30 for a few select evos that you're missing or to buy gems for heroes that you want to unlock. If you were never one to spend money for in-game items, then this would be one of the few games where the term play to win is actually valid outside of the subscription cost. Items for hero tokens, ascending materials, and gaining star levels are now earned by completing quests or tasks and running dungeons for materials. While time has become the new currency, and I'll provide more detail on that later in the video, it's not as bad as you may think. Starting with the upper right hand corner, we have a similar graphic for the player name display. We still see the golden wings and the player name, but what is gone is the green VIP shield. For those of you who may not know, the original Dungeon Boss game had a VIP rank that you received for spending money in the game. The more money you spent, the higher your VIP rank, and the more extra perks you receive like extra energy, gems, gold, and even a special VIP portal. Since microtransactions are not possible, that is no longer necessary. Just below the nameplate, we see sections where rewards, quests, and shop are listed. You can see that the crafting and events option is now removed. Rune, EVO, and material crafting were an in-game feature which allowed you to enhance your heroes. While rune and material crafting is a feature that didn't carry over, EVO crafting still does exist in this game, and we'll talk about that later on. Again, we see a slight difference where the shop and events section have traded places, and lastly, the specials area was where the daily and weekly sale offers were displayed. Once again, since you can't make in-game purchases, this area is no longer required. At the bottom, we can see they kept the same button structure but did relocate some of the game features. The portal button has been moved out of center focus, the hero menu takes 2 steps to the right, and that button becomes a consolidated access point for social areas like guild members, friends list, and to change your Rent-a-Hero champion. The campaign and My Dungeon still function the same and open the map for PvE dungeon hunting or PvP dungeon raiding, respectively. On the right side, we have the Netflix avatar with the mail option staying put and the newly relocated portal section. Lastly, on the top right, you will see the removal of the in-game currency wallets. There's no longer an energy cost to scroll through dungeons. You can do it all day long if you want, as many times as you want. While you would still need to spend gems to refresh a dungeon so you can get token drops, you can farm the dungeon for EVOs and gold as long as your device has battery. On the topic of gems, while gems still have a use, their impact from the original game is far removed. As previously stated, gems can be used to refresh dungeon token drops, but they can also be used in the in-game shop to purchase featured hero tokens, gold bundles, and potions. They can also be used for purchasing spins on the portal, but if you haven't noticed by now, the portal has really taken a back seat in the game. In fact, if you look at a town picture from the old game and compare it to the new version, you see it's not as bright and prominent. As far as I can tell, any hero currently featured in the portal can be obtained from other avenues in the game. Now, admittedly, I haven't been in the game long enough to determine if they have events to unlock heroes that are not normally available, and maybe they do add them temporarily to the portal. Gems can also be used to purchase any missing EVOs you may need to complete a hero's ascension. However, these can be quite expensive, ranging from 50 gems for a single EVO larva up to 2,500 gems for each celestial EVO. These will be more expensive than identical ones featured in the shop, but the shop limits you on the number you can purchase and only has a select few each day. Here you can buy the ones you need at any time, but it does cost a premium. As an alternative, if you're missing an EVO, you can click on the picture of the EVO you want to locate dungeons that feature a drop chance. Lastly, you can craft EVOs that you need using gold as the currency to purchase this task. Concerning heroes, another major difference is the change in stats, or rather, the reduction in stats. If you look at the stat panel comparison from Aeroica from the old to new version, you can see that the stats list has been significantly reduced. While many of the stats that are missing from Aeroica's were zeroed anyway, and you could argue that Netflix was just cleaning the page up to make it less muddled, this logic won't apply to at least 2 of the stats, lightning and spirit resistance, which are now completely missing. What is also not known is if all of the old stats are still in effect, but are just not displayed to make the game more friendly and less confusing, or if they're just disabled from any game applicability. Hero Ascensions are also cheaper in the sense that EVO rarity requirements are lower. Again, using Aeroica, you can see her old Ascension requirements were 1 common and 3 rare Celestial EVO types, where now she only requires 12 larvae, 6 sprites, and 1 each of a common and rare Celestial EVO. Unlocking heroes also has a new take where you can gain hero tokens by unlocking and completing hero storyline chapters. Completing each chapter, each becoming more involved than the last, will reward you with an increased amount of hero tokens to raise the star level of that respective hero. While I have yet to complete the 5th storyline, it appears that getting to the 6th star will have to come from farming dungeons or getting lucky in the portal. These chapters only provide enough tokens to upgrade a hero to 5 stars, but the 6 stars will require require an additional 250 stars from what I'm able to determine. If I'm wrong, I'll make an update in the description. While you can use dungeons to farm the more common heroes, any of the legendary heroes will require special events or portal rolls to obtain. The Tower of Ponage still operates the same, with the player earning gems, cups, and rewards as they complete each floor, and then being able to spend those cups in the Tower of Ponage shop with albeit limited items compared to the old game. In this shop, you can buy potions and evos with your cup currency to help speed along any ascensions you're working on. And PvP is still the same as well, but with many of the heroes not migrating to this version, you'll see different defense parties and interesting use of tactics with heroes that you do have. And as far as major changes go, those are the points. I'm sure there are little things I may have missed, and please feel free to let me know in the comments below. I will make other videos and guides as I progress through this version, and if there's anything helpful that's worth making a video for, I absolutely will. I hope this video inspires you to make another run at Dungeon Boss Respawn. For those of you who spent money in the last game, it will be an adjustment knowing that there's no way to pay your way through any obstacles. For those of you who didn't spend money in the last game, you'll be able to have access to heroes you may not have had access to before, like Aria or Ember Sanguine, and even the playing field with other players. I hope you enjoyed the video, and as always, I thank you for watching. Please consider subscribing, and let me know if you'll be giving this new Dungeon Boss version a try. If you do, feel free to message me in-game. My name is still Aeroica, and I hope to see you in the next video.